All right. I am so glad to be sitting down with three amazing women of Team NGLCC. For those who don't know me, my name is Sabrina Kent. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a senior vice president at NGLCC. I have the lucky joy to be able to work across departments at NGLCC. I get to oversee our supplier diversity initiative and our work in New York, as well as many other amazing things like corporate partners and affiliate relations, relationships, and so much more. So I am so excited because I feel like folks get to hear from me a lot, but they don't get to hear from you all as much. So I'm going to turn the tables and interview my amazing colleagues here from Team NGLCC. And I would love for y'all to just start by sharing a little bit about yourself, your names, pronouns, title, a little bit about what you do, and what you enjoy about your work. So Maxine, let's start with you.
Awesome. Thank you, Sabrina. My name is Maxine Turner. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and I am the manager of corporate relations. Previously, I was working with Jada on certification. I will not steal her thunder, but currently now I work with leading organizations and corporations through their partnerships with the NGLCC. And what I love most about my role is that every day is quite different, and work-wise, I don't like too much routine. So to be able to talk to so many different people on a daily basis is really exciting.
All right, I'm getting this, Maxine. You're chatty. We love that. That's great. I'm just kidding. So Jada, you were just mentioned, so let's ping pong over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Sabrina, and thank you, Maxine, for the introduction, kind of sharing what we kind of did or what we do. So my name is Jada Watson. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the manager of supply diversity at the NGLCC. So a little bit about what I do. I help businesses that are LGBT owned become certified. And I also help with the programming for the benefits that are available to our certified suppliers as well. What I enjoy about working is doing what I do is I get to work with certified suppliers and get to interact with them and meet the owners and get to learn a little bit about their businesses. It's really cool just to see all the different types of businesses we have certified and all the different businesses that I didn't know that were LGBT owned that I shopped at beforehand, and getting able to see those that are now becoming certified, which is really awesome.
I love that, Jada. That is definitely one of the joys of working for the chamber, especially when you're in a store and you're like, hey, I know that company. I helped get them certified. And you do that so well. And I know our business owners and affiliates love working with you. So we really appreciate you and your work. And now I'm going to turn it over to Shanna. Take it away, Shanna.
Thanks, Sabrina. I'm Shanna Mansuri. My pronouns are she, her. And I'm the Operations and Finance Manager at NGLCC. So with that, I do a lot of stuff behind the scenes. And I also, like many of my fellow panelists here, get to work across departments, which is something I really enjoy. And not only within our departments, but also I kind of liaise between our third-party vendors in working with, our IT company and our accounting department. So I really am kind of a connector between many parts of the organization, and I really enjoy that, and as well as the behind the scenes aspect of my position.
We could not do what we do without you, Shan. You are the grease that keeps the wheels turning. And I've been lucky to get to work with you for 4 years now, almost. So, yeah. But I would say that in case anyone is ever wondering who is making us run like a well-oiled machine in the background, that is definitely Shanna and the ops team. So I'm so glad that we get the chance to have you here and to have you out in front of our stakeholders. So y'all, it is the time of COVID. We have been in this for over a year now. It's been a year and 3 weeks since we shut the office down. We're like, grab your things, go home. We're working from home for 2 weeks. And here we are multiple weeks later. I know some of us are on the way to vaccination or already got their first round of vaccines. But, this is our present normal. And one of the things I think we can all probably agree on is we've been able to do a lot of binge watching of TV. I know I'm not alone in that. So what are you watching right now? Or what did you really like watching during COVID? Anyone jump in?
I honestly feel like I've watched so many things. Sorry, Jada.
It's okay.
I've watched almost all of the things that I possibly could have, I feel like. I mean, obviously there's so many more things on Netflix and Hulu and all the streaming sites that are still out there I haven't seen. But if I think back to like some of the early things, I can't think of the show now, but it was really big at the time. In
What
North Carolina.
Oh my gosh,
Outer Banks.
Outer Banks.
Oh, I
That was like
love
one of the
Outer
first things I
Banks.
watched. So I watched Outer Banks all in like one day. And then I remember being like, telling everyone, you have to watch this. And then suddenly it blew up and I was like,
Same.
Yep, I knew it. I'm almost ready to like rewatch it.
Oh my gosh. And season 2 is already in production. Anyway, love that, Shanna. Yeah, I have watched way too much that when I'm put on the spot and asked about what I've been watching, I'm like, everything. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. Okay, Jada, over to you.
Well, I mean, I watched Outer Banks and I love that show. It's really good. But same with Shanna, I was just watching everything that was in the top 10 on Netflix. So just whatever was trending, I was trying to watch to see what everyone was talking about. But I've been also watching like old shows like New Girl and On My Block that I watched beforehand that I really loved. It's a really cool show. So I recommend watching it if you haven't seen it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I have also definitely taken the opportunity to rewatch some favorites like Maxine and I go and talk about this all the time, but The Crown. I have been watching that since it first came out in 2016, and I usually binge watch the seasons within like a day when they're released every November. But I actually rewatched every season, including the most recent season about a month and a half ago. So I'm with you. Going back to those crowd favorites is key. All right, Maxine, what about you?
Well, all of those shows that we just mentioned for sure. Recently, I also watched, I think it's called Behind Your Eyes, and that was amazing. Love, like,
so good.
Yeah, absolutely loved it. And then also, not Netflix, but the new episode or the new season of The Handmaid's Tale comes out this month, I believe.
April 28th. Yeah.
I'm excited for that. So I'm gonna have to go back to Hulu for a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm all about the Hulu and the ad-free. It's life. So that's awesome. All right. So shifting gears a little bit, we just celebrated Women's History Month. We're now almost halfway through April. How do you respond to someone who says they're not a feminist? I always love this question. Anyone can jump in.
Sabrina, that's something I've always wanted to know myself. I would say my quick and easy response is I would just tell them to please look up the definition and then get back to me. Then we'll have a conversation, because I think that's like where that starting point needs to be. And I think a lot of people fall to like, I don't know, what something they've seen on Twitter or something else, and they're like, oh, that's feminism. I don't want anything to do with that. And that's just not what it is. So I think a quick little dictionary look up, and then we'll have a conversation about that. That is my quick and easy answer.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I always say, I think there's an aversion to the word, right? And I think it predates Twitter for people that are more in my age range. It definitely predates Twitter. But I always say, so do you believe in equal pay for women? Well, yeah. Do you believe women and men should be treated equitably? Well, yeah. Do you believe in the inclusion of LGBTQ people? Well, yeah. Okay, you're a feminist. So yeah, love that. Love that, Maxine. Either one of you, Jada or Shanna, want to jump in?
Well, I would say the same thing. Like I usually pretty much tell people or explain to people what being a feminist is and the definition, and just, see that it changes their opinion because they didn't understand what it was beforehand. So that confusion is usually what causes people to think a feminist is someone who just burns bras and like does crazy stuff that they wouldn't associate themselves with. So a lot of times it's just education is the key to having someone become or understand what being a feminist is.
Most deaf, Jada. Shanna, anything to add that hasn't already been said?
No, you know what? This is one I wasn't really sure. I don't know that I've ever been really confronted with that personally. So I was like really looking forward to see what everyone had to say, so I could have something, you know, in the back of my mind to some good points that if I ever am approached by that statement from someone, I have a good response.
See, I think that is a great testament to the company you keep, Shanna, that you haven't had to have that conversation with anyone. So I love that. All right. So keeping on the theme, in addition to maybe binge watching, we've probably done a lot of reading in COVID, but just generally, whether it's a recent author or a recent book you've read, who is your favorite, who's your favorite female author, or your favorite book written by a female author? So jump on in, anyone.
For me, I'd say Maya Angelou. I feel like she has a lot of great books, but she also has a lot of great quotes that I love to just remind myself daily, just as an inspiration, kind of just getting through the day. And if you're having a tough time, just looking at one of her quotes and just reading it and feeling inspired to be able to tackle whatever you're getting through.
That's awesome, Jada. And I don't know if y'all can hear this, but the landscaping people are outside my window right now, so there's very loud sounds. Hopefully they're not coming through the AirPods. But anyway, that's awesome. You know, I was actually going to say, I purchased Amanda Gorman's book, The Hill We Climb, on the day it came out on March 30th. And I love having that book as a physical reminder of her amazing inauguration poem. And I loved watching her special with Oprah. But I'm with you, poetry and inspirational poetry, especially Maya Angelou, is definitely up there. Love that. Shanna, Maxine?
Shanna, do you want to go first?
Sure. I know there's so many great women authors and books out there that I haven't read yet, and so I'm loving this too. Suggestions all the way. But so I don't have a specific favorite, but my most recent kind of stems off of my Netflix binging, actually. I binged Firefly Lane on Netflix in one day, of course. And so then I was so interested in the story and I looked it up to see if there was going to be a season 2. And then I found out it was actually a book. So I just finished that book like 2 days ago, and I'm working on the second now by the author Kristen Hanna. So that was a really great, fun read.
I need to, that's actually one of the Netflix shows I haven't watched, so I need to get on it. But is the book, so the books are good, is what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maxine?
It was pretty good too. I watched that too and loved it. But in terms of my favorite female author, I can't honestly think of one. I will say though, when I visited France, I was able to go and visit, I'm not pronouncing this right, Simone de Beauvoir's tombstone, and to see all of like the lipstick stains of everyone who's kissed the tombstone was just really like powerful. And I mean, I like hunted through the entire like graveyard, I guess, just to find it, only to find out it's like right next to the entrance. It's like so small compared to some of the other ones, you know, but it was really like powerful to see that, and beautiful too.
She's in, I'm gonna butcher this too, Père Lachaise Cemetery.
It's Montparnasse.
Oh, different one. Okay, I was gonna say, is she buried where Jim Morrison is? Okay, cool. That is definitely an amazing woman author. I would have to just add to all this to say, one of my favorite books is The Immortalist by Chloe Benjamin. It was actually only the second book that she's ever written. But if y'all ever find yourselves wanting something to read, highly recommend. In addition to, you know, like the Michelle Obamas of the world, of course, and other amazing female authors. But for a book that was fiction, I definitely really enjoyed Chloe Benjamin. She does like a lot of like dream stuff and cool things in her writing. So love those answers. So back to COVID. We're still here in these COVID times, which makes me think that I wonder how many people are kissing tombstones, Maxine, in the time of COVID. But
None.
Have y'all started any new hobbies? You have anything going on that you haven't done before, or maybe picked a new hobby or a former hobby back up?
I definitely, Jada knows this because I complain to her about it all the time. My new hobby is online shopping, which is really, but I mean, it's just so exciting. It's the only thing to look forward to, I feel like nowadays, is like when that package is going to be delivered. So online shopping for sure. But on a more serious note, like definitely just trying to go outside, because I feel like working from home, sometimes you kind of get through half of the week and you're like, wow, I haven't been outside today or this week. So it's like really important. So I've been trying my best, especially now that the weather is getting nicer, to go outside and just go for a little walk or something.
Love that. I have a few packages waiting for me downstairs, so I can relate. Shanna, Jada?
I've tried to pick up, I've always wanted to learn like hand lettering, kind of like not calligraphy, but you know, that similar style, fancy handwriting. And I kept getting like targeted ads for it on Instagram because obviously it knew that I was interested. And so I finally just purchased a kit. And so now I have all the, you know, the right kind of markers and like the instructional template practice papers and stuff. And so I've only like really gotten into it a little bit, but I'm excited that I've like finally taken the step to get the materials and that I can, you know, keep going with it.
You need to get the paint by numbers or whatever that's called. I literally just ordered one. It's Van Gogh's Starry Night, and I'm like at home, you know, just trying to paint in the little.
Is that,
so you need to get that, I think, me and you.
Have you seen the things that are like the beading paint or pictures? It's like you just get a bunch, it's like paint by number, but with like these little beading things.
Yes,
I really wanted to get one of those too, but I haven't done it.
Okay, well,
so if this
team
keeps going on,
another need to do that for our next retreat or whatever it is.
Noted. And
Definitely.
You know what, Shan, there's this account that I follow on Instagram, and I just looked it up, but I can't think of the name at the moment, but like they do the calligraphy, but they do it super fast. Have you seen that one where it's like people are like, do my name, and so they'll be like Sabrina, and it looks perfect.
That's
and
crazy.
I can sit there and watch those for hours, to be honest with you.
Me too.
That's a great hobby, so I expect you to make me something beautiful once your skills are put to the test. Jada?
Well, I mean, that sounds like a fun hobby. I feel like I'll steal it and probably try to do it as well. But similar to Maxine, it's just been trying to get outside, because I used to realize that I hadn't left the like apartment for a while, and just knowing that I probably need some vitamin C or vitamin D. Probably forgot what it's called because I haven't been outside for so long. And then also at the beginning of COVID, I started doing guitar, and I bought a guitar and like trying to teach myself through YouTube videos how to play. So that's slowly but surely coming along. It's more on the back burner right now, but hopefully I'll get back into it as we continue to be in this quarantine life.
Justin has talked about this for years. NGLCC's got talent, and we got talent here, people. Let's see, what have I done? I picked up camping. I love camping. I have way too much camping gear now. And I bought a Jeep because I love camping so much. Let's see, what else? Definitely like exploring nature trails on the weekends, just like locally. And I got back into sketching and art, which I haven't done in like 8 years. I promise I'm not that productive in COVID. It's just things to occupy the time. And then Shanna and I have always had an obsession with doing our nails, and that I was kind of on hiatus for a lot of the pandemic, but now I'm back and I'm painting my nails sometimes multiple times a week, because why not? So awesome. I love everything y'all are doing, and you're giving me ideas for things. And Maxine, you can duke it out with my partner as I continue to fuel my online shopping addiction, because I've been effectively cut off, but I don't have to answer to anyone. So moving right along, um, what comes to mind when you think of women's history? Anyone jump in?
For me, I guess I think about all the women that have paved the way for all of us to do what we do, and just kind of thinking back at to see I guess learning lessons from what they used to do, and how they persevered through their struggles, and just knowing that we still have a lot to go, a lot of distance to make up, and just learning from the history and from the women that came before us, and paying homage to them for what they've done and where they've gotten us.
I love that, Jada.
Me too, Jada. That's honestly, like, I would say quite the same. And I just think about how many advancements and products and just things across so many industries that women have led or created, invented, that we don't even know about, because they may have not been, credited because they were women. But I also just love how our generation, the younger generations, have really like been able to find their voices because of the history of women and everything they've done. And it's just inspiring and great to see.
That's awesome, Shanna. Yeah, I agree with you. It's amazing to see now as history is being rewritten, not from a man's perspective, a cis man's perspective, how, we're learning so much more about the contributions that women have had over time, whether it's Catherine Goebel in NASA or Henrietta Lacks with the, oh my gosh,
The stem cells.
but
like
there's a specific name for the cells. This is going to drive me nuts if I don't look it up. So I'm just going to do it right now because I read this book my freshman year of college. The HeLa cell. Yeah, the HeLa cell, and all the advancements in medical research that have been done and are still being done today because of the reproduction of her cells. Totally agree with you, Shan. Maxine, anything you want to add?
I mean, you all said it perfectly, but yeah, it's, definitely unfortunate that we have such a lack of education on women's history in general, going through like the school system, and just lack of cultural representation. But we have been able to kind of talk about some of the shows that we've been watching, really strong female leads. For example, I noticed that the other day that I started watching Netflix shows, and all of them back to back were all women. And I was like, wow, that's great that, I didn't even recognize that, but super happy for it. But yeah, I just super optimistic about the future, but recognizing that I think we have a long way to go. Like you all said, kind of reminded me of that, like, Guerrilla Girls, I think it is, that like billboard that was like, do women have to be naked to get into the Met? I mean, hopefully times are changing, but we'll see.
Yeah, Maxine, oh my gosh, I couldn't agree with you more. I think, the journey to women's equity, we're still not there. We've come a long way. But I think more and more people are starting to recognize, and I think that's really changing with, incoming generations growing up, and especially like with Gen Z, seeing how much women have contributed to society and to the fact that we're probably the most productive members of society, just got to say, at least the most caring and sensitive and supportive. And I think those qualities, coupled with the intellectual side of things, really allow women to become the best leaders, right? Because we're looking at things sort of holistically and not from a narrow point of view. Looking back to like Alice Walker and all the women and people that came before us, Harriet Tubman, those who fought for suffrage, those who fought for equity on the gender and racial side of things, despite the odds being stacked against them, right? And despite men telling them they couldn't do those things, it has paved the way for people like us. I think about women like my mom, who emerged into like very male-driven fields and careers, and her as an immigrant woman, and what that means for me as her daughter that was able to look up to her growing up. So anyway, y'all, this has been so much fun. I wish we could do this all day. Last question. Anything, any final thoughts, anything you want to say? Anything to share as we close out? While you're thinking, I'll say something. I love this opportunity to just have fun and sit down with y'all and to share a little bit about who the women of NGLCC are as people, as we look back on Women's History Month. And, you know, we pay deference to our amazing colleagues at WeBank who did a month-long series of programming for Women's History Month. And we had the opportunity to sit down here and have this great conversation and look at Team NGLCC in a different light than we usually do. And it was fun to just learn more about y'all and chit chat with y'all and take the time to appreciate all of you. So thanks for that.
Well, thank you, Sabrina. I appreciate this opportunity too. And thanks to you and Lauren and the rest of the team and who really made this event happen and get us all together like this. It was great. And I hope that we can hopefully get the chance to do it again. I do miss seeing all of your faces every day. So
I know. Anyone want to go socially distance camp, let me know. But yeah, definitely a big shout out to Lauren, our special assistant to the president and CEO at NGLCC and educational initiatives manager, for putting this whole thing together. And to Sarah Jester on our media team. They're the ones that are putting this whole production into a beautiful, pretty box with a ribbon. I was trying to figure out the words there. Maxine, Jada, any final thoughts for us?
I mean, I think you both said it beautifully, you and Shanna. I mean, took the words out of my mouth. I mean, it's great to be able to sit down and see everyone, even though we don't really get to see each other as often, get to sit down and just talk and get to learn more about each other as more than just coworkers. So it's really great to just have this space and be able to interact even in this crazy age of time.
Totally.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth, 100%. Thank you, Sabrina. Thanks, Sarah, Lauren, and all the other people who weren't on our initial, I guess, this panel, but shout out to Alicia too.
Yeah.
And who else? Akriti, everyone.
And Sydney, yeah.
And Sydney, yes.
And Sydney, yeah. Yes, an amazing team we have. So y'all, thank you. And everyone who's watching, thanks for tuning in and learning a little bit more about the women of NGLCC. Have a good one, y'all.
Hello, everyone. And I am so excited that we are being able to celebrate the women of NGLCC. For those who do not know me, my name is Alicia Green, pronouns she, her, hers, and I am the Director of Supplier Diversity at NGLCC. Just a little bit about myself is that I run the department that certifies LGBT-owned businesses that are 51% more LGBT owned and operated. And I enjoy working with all of our suppliers as well as with our corporate partners, trying to get the best benefits out of their certification and get some great contracts out there, as well as contracting the suppliers with other suppliers. So that is what I really enjoy about NGLCC. And I am so happy that I have a wonderful group of ladies, panelists that are my colleagues. They have been the best colleagues that I have had, and I am so excited to be sharing this panel with them, the women of NGLCC. So I'm first going to get it started by y'all announce yourselves and tell what you do, get a little brief description about yourself so that people know what you do for NGLCC. So I want to start off with Akriti.
Well, thank you, Alicia. My name is Akriti Rana, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers. I'm currently working with NGLCC as a program manager for the Chamber Leadership Alliance. By way of letting you know what CLA is, we aimed. CLA is a program, it's a collaborative capacity building program at NGLCC. And with this program, we aim to build capacity of our local and state chamber leaders throughout the country. And in some cases, our international affiliate chamber leaders as well. I love being a part of this program because, like I said, it's a multi-chamber collaboration where NGLCC, the US Pan American I'm just going to continue. It's a collaboration of multiple chambers where the National LGBT Chamber of Commerce, the U.S. Pan Asian American Foundation, the U.S. Black Chamber, and the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, collaborated to form this program. So the favorite thing about this program, or my favorite thing about being a part of this program is reaching out to our affiliate chamber leaders and knowing that the trainings that we are providing via the Chamber Leadership Development Program is actually practical and very useful to run the day-to-day business of chambers, and is highly appreciated by our affiliate chamber leaders.
No, that is great. And Akriti, I definitely understand. We use so many acronyms that whenever it actually comes out for us to like say what they are, it's like, wait, hold up, what is this again?
Yes.
So no, I definitely understand that. That's the thing about living in DC.
Right.
So next, I will give it over to Sydney, who is our newest member of NGLCC.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, my name is Sydney Harris. I use she, her pronouns. I'm an associate with the supplier diversity team. So I work very closely with Alicia and business owners in the eastern part of the United States. And yeah, I'm really excited to be a part of the team. I just joined about a month ago, so it's been great getting to know the rest of the team members here at NGLCC, as well as starting to get to know more business owners.
Well, great. No, and we are so happy that you have joined us. You have been such a great benefit in addition to our team, and I just can't wait to see what lies ahead. And last but certainly not least, we have Lauren, who actually put this programming together to give us, to acknowledge the women of NGLCC, along with our Senior Vice President, Sabrina Kent. So Lauren, take it away.
Well, thanks so much, Alicia, and I'm so happy to be here and so happy that we are having this program so that we can showcase all of the incredible work that all of the women of this team do. So as you said, my name is Lauren Schweppe. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm the Special Assistant to the President and CEO and our Educational Initiatives Manager at NGLCC. So everyone has probably seen me as the little timer at the sip and pitch programs. That's kind of my go-to role there. Excuse me. And I run a few of our other programs, like our Accelerate program. I run support on, as well as some of our other various programming. If there's a NGLCC webinar, I'm probably there somewhere, so you can probably find me. But yeah, through these programs, I've really had the privilege of getting to know so many of our suppliers, which has been kind of wonderful. It's interesting how when things moved virtual, I feel like I got to know people more. I was on these programs like Sip and Pitch and getting to interact and FaceTime with all our different stakeholders, suppliers, and corporates, and it was really wonderful. So I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited for the rest of the program.
Yeah, no, thank you, Lauren, for that. And you are a lot more than just a timekeeper. Trust that I use Lauren all the time whenever I'm having problems with Zoom, but also Lauren works with me with the mentorship program, as well as anything that we have a webinar with our Communities of Color initiative. I am the co-lead of that as well. So all of you have been a great help. We have great women at NGLCC, and we all work well together. And it's just nice that we actually have this time to dig a little bit deeper and to find out what our interests are. So last month was Women's History Month, and we're providing a platform this month as our sister, certifying body, WeBank, having programming the whole weeks and all month long, and we wanted to do something for our staff here. So how do you respond to someone who says that they are not a feminist? And Lauren, I'll start with you.
Yeah, that's such a good question. And it's always interesting to me when I do come across someone who proclaims themselves to not be a feminist. I'm always a bit taken aback, and I think that just comes from growing up. Feminism was always seen as equality. It's a fight for equality. So if you are describing yourself as not being a feminist, you're in essence saying, I don't want equality. And so that always bothered me, but I do understand that there's nuance to it. And some people just don't understand what it means when someone says, yes, I am a feminist. And I think it can be difficult to sort of go about those conversations. But what I always say when I do come across someone who does not identify as a feminist is that at its core, this is about equality. This is about making sure that everyone has the same access and opportunity to succeed and to do well. And that's something that we fight for here at NGLCC for all of our LGBT-owned businesses. And what we say is we want everyone to have the same opportunity. We want everyone to be able to succeed, because as our president Justin says, when we all do better, we all do better. And that counts for feminism as well. When women are doing better, everyone is doing better. And that's just an important message for people to understand, especially if someone is not currently identifying as a feminist. I like to think that after a conversation with me, they would change their mind on that. But yeah, it's always a tough conversation to have, but that's typically the angle that I would try to go about it with.
I'd like to echo what Lauren just said, if I may. I completely agree, Lauren. I think the core of, feminism, the movement, has always been that of equality and not anti-men, as some people think it is. And that's such a powerful message. Is what you just said is we are trying to even the playing field, with this idea, with this movement. And generally, I feel like whether you know it or you don't, or you claim or you don't, we're all feminists in some way or another. Like, I might be doing my everyday work, yet be pushing the movement of feminism further without knowing, without that sense of power, of equality. I don't think me, somebody who's been born and raised in Nepal, would have gotten that opportunity to come to the US for higher education if my dad wasn't forward thinking, or if my grandmother didn't believe that everybody should get equal opportunity. So I think, like Lauren said, if I would try to convince or just lay out the facts and examples of why it's important for everybody to be a feminist in one way or another, and just hope for the best. Hope that people are actually listening and have that open mind to convert, or make that jump from a non-believer to a believer.
Right. And I think, you hit the nail on the head when you said it's not anti-men. And I believe that the term feminist is kind of brought as a negative term. So that it's like, no, I'm not a feminist, but I am for women's rights. And it's like, then you're a feminist. You are a feminist. Ding, ding, ding. Congratulations. You get your certificate. So yeah, you definitely hit the nail on the head on that. It's not anti-men, but it is about equal opportunity. And we, that if it wasn't for the glass ceiling being broken, and there's still, now we have another one that we're trying to break, but Sydney, would you like to chime in?
Yeah, I was really thinking something very similar to all three of you. And I just, can't count how many times I've heard someone say, I'm not a feminist. I believe in equality, but, something. And I think, really just getting back to the core concepts of what it means to be a feminist. That's how I would start that conversation. And yeah, really just echoing all of you all's points on that one.
Are you happy that you're able to vote?
Yeah.
Well, are you happy that you are able to have a job, or it's just things that we were not able to do or have? And if it wasn't for, different activists that we are about to talk about, then we wouldn't be where we are today. So piggybacking off of that, what comes to mind when you think of women's history?
I can start this one off if that's okay. So I was a history major in college. So history has been a passion of mine for a very long time, and I've studied some women's history, but in general, it's so interesting when you really start to dig into historical events and big historical events. The women aren't always the headline, but they are always there. And you look back and like NASA, the moon landing, like all of these things that have happened, that women were the ones building this up and making these huge historic events happen, and they may not have gotten all the credit for it, but they were there and they were doing it, they were doing the work. And I think about this sometimes as someone who studied history and studied women in history. I look back and I say, how different would things be if women were afforded the same opportunity to thrive and succeed as men? Because they've already done it. Women have already been incredible in history and done so many amazing things. And if women had the same opportunities, how much further would we be as a society? How much more would we have accomplished? What other huge scientific or literary or artistic achievements would we have developed if half the population hadn't been oppressed for so long? So I think about that a lot.
I can jump in. So yeah, just echoing some of Lauren's points as well, but more broadly, I felt like women's history wasn't something that I felt like they really covered in school, until I got to college. I felt like it was something that was really glossed over and, maybe like, oh, there was women there, but we didn't really talk about it very much. And I do remember in high school, I had a few friends that founded a young feminist club at our high school, and they would dedicate meetings to discussing women's history. So I was just very thankful to have those spaces to discuss women's history and these topics, and activists that have been around for forever that have pushed forward women's movement and women's equality. So yeah, I'm just thankful for those spaces, and that women's history is being discussed more and more in schools as we progress.
Yeah.
I agree to what my previous speakers have talked about on this topic, and I think for me, like coming from Nepal, where I was, I completed my high school in Nepal before I moved to the U.S. and the history, like you said, very similar to what is taught in the US, was very it was very male centric. There were queens and very powerful influencers in certain time in history, but very little or nothing has been written or said about these powerful women who, again, not only advocated for for the current socio-political issues, but also actively led women's right or issues facing by women in Nepal. And I came to the US for my undergrad, and I went to an all-women's college in Salem, in North Carolina, called Salem College. And again, very similar situations in in history of Nepal and the U.S. history, but like different situations, but the same issues facing, not giving women enough due to what they have done to accomplish certain certain achievements, like nationally as well as on an international platform as well. And it's not, I mean, you can cry over what's done and for what's done in the past, but again, I think that is something that's given fuel to people in the present time, in today's day and time, to actually be activists or be voices of people. I mean, I think I saw Meghan Markle talk about how women, they have voices, they don't need voices, we already have voices, but we want our voice to be heard, and that I thought was very, very powerful. And I think the wrong that has been done to women in the past, I think it's our job and responsibility to undo the mistake that people in the past have done, by again being vocal about our issues. Not just people who don't have that power or ability to voice their problems, their realities, and I think that's the wrong in the past has motivated us to do better now, and you should always see that as an opportunity to do good and be good.
Right. And, that's the thing. Women's history is just the foundation of what we are about to do and what we are currently doing. And Akriti, I didn't know you went to an all-women's school. I did too. I went to Texas Women's University.
Oh,
And so I went to an all-women's school, have my degree from there. And Texas Women's University is actually the sister college to Texas A&M because women were not allowed to go. So, and my background was in law, so I had to take a women's, in law class, of course, and history of that. So I'm like, agree with Sydney. I did not know, we didn't have that much. We didn't speak that much about women history in school. And women's history, like everyone's saying, even civil rights activists. Oh my gosh, everything that happened during the civil rights movement, majority was led by women, and a woman was right by their side. So it's just that we do have so much history, and I'm so excited about the younger women that we have in our House of Representatives that are now standing out. They're speaking and they are being heard. We have Stacey Abrams in Georgia. I mean, look at that powerful woman who ran for governor and didn't get it, but she did not let that knock her down. She was like, we will get out the vote for the election, so she's an advocate, and it's just so much that we are doing right now, and I'm excited about what's to come. And you all are making history right now at NGLCC with this lovely platform. Next to the last question, are there any artists, actresses, or activists, or just a family member, maybe a colleague, who have had an influential impact in your life? And I will actually start off is, I've actually had a lot of strong women in my life, and definitely as my mom. She is a really strong influence in my life, and I respect her as a strong woman. But I also am very inspired by, and I never thought that I would say this, but Oprah Winfrey. I went to her seminar. Oh my gosh, it was just so amazing. We always hear the story of where she came from and where she's at, but no, the struggle is real. And to see a Black woman from the South to start off at a news station, and now she owns her own network, is very empowering. And it's like, we always talk about, oh, well, I can't do this because I don't have that. We make excuses for ourselves, but there's no excuse. It might take you longer to get there, but you will make it. So just having your mind, have that set go, write things down. I have to start writing things down, but, start writing things down, your goals, and you can achieve them, so that is someone that has very been a great impact. Influential in my life, as well as my lovely colleagues.
Well, Alicia, I was going to say, it's sort of similar to what you said about just the women around me every day on a day-to-day basis inspire me. My friends, my colleagues, who just, no matter what they're dealing with, women who are so strong and also so vulnerable in the best sense of the word. I have such wonderful friends who, throughout this pandemic, when things have not been great, there's times when some of us are just like, you know what, I'm just not doing okay today. And being able to say that and be able to sort of support one another, even if it's just, I understand and I'm here for you. I've seen so much of that with all of my friends, but my female friends and female families specifically, just the support network that I found through that. And my mother and my sister are also just really big inspirations for me. They are just incredible, smart, just wonderful human beings who I was lucky enough to get to spend a lot of time with during this pandemic. So I just have really appreciated all of the women in my life, and I find inspiration from all of them and from all of you every day.
I will go next if that's okay, Sydney. Um, um, for me, it has to be hands down my mother and my grandmother. Um, I think they're two of the most strongest women I have known my entire life. And my sister is a close second. But just, yeah, family and friends who surround me on a day-to-day basis, I think have been really inspirational. And I think, like I was talking about my mother, I think she is the my mother has always been the sound of reasoning for me. So, like, anything that I do, I hear her voice. Like, I genuinely hear her voice telling me what she might think, like that voice of reason. That's my mother for me. And like, if I catch myself gossiping with my very close friend, I'll be like, if my mom hears this, she's gonna kill me. Like, she's not gonna like this. She's not gonna like that we're talking about somebody. It's just like, I know, like, she grounds me. I think my mother grounds me, and I mean, I love her for that. And yeah, I think she's one of the closest people. She's one of the closest person I have in my life, with whom I share everything. And so, yeah.
All right, I think I might be the last one, but I think some of the women that came to my mind first, well, I'm a recent college graduate, and so some of the professors I had in school came to my mind as, really just not pushing just me, but, our whole class to think about the world in different ways, or, also just for me personally, and really encouraging me to, go after that internship, or, pushing myself harder on a paper or research. So I'm really just thankful to have role models and mentors, or having had those mentors in college, that were women. And yeah, I just found like really strong connections with them. But I would also say both my mom, my stepmom, many of my aunts and cousins as well, where I have a big, close family. And I think those support networks are just really important, and I'm really grateful for them as well.
Yeah, no, and that's great. And like you all said about our family and our friends and, even our colleagues. I know working for NGLCC, my colleagues have kind of been more than just my colleagues. There's times that we're stressed and I can call someone up and be like, hey, and talk to them as a friend. And I really appreciate having that opportunity and that kind of relationship with a lot of my colleagues. But yeah, during the pandemic, it's like you are on virtual, you got Google Duo, you have all these platforms, House Party that we got on, and everybody was going through different things, but you had people there for you, and we're all genuinely, blessed for that. So, but our last question is going to be the funnest question. And it is, do you have a female empowerment song? A song that just makes you like, when it comes on, you're like, yeah, and I'm, again, might be telling my age, even though I'm younger than this song, but mine is Aretha Franklin, R-E-S-P-E-C-T, find out what it means to me, or let's go on and do Beyonce.
Well, I don't have a specific song, but Taylor Swift, and obviously her new music and everything that she's been coming out with has been amazing. So those have been kind of my go-to when I'm trying to pep myself up a little bit. I'll throw on one of her newly redone Taylor's versions of her songs, which are getting me going these days.
do that. What is that? The mile jog that you do, the long distance?
Oh yeah. Yes, my morning runs with
Morning
me and
runs.
Taylor Swift.
Um, for me, any song of Beyonce has like, it's just like, it changes my mood. And I always used to hear people say, like, you know, she's the queen, she's the queen. And I mean, I always liked her, but I was like, I never understood where that queen was coming from until I went to her concert in 2019. I think it was the On the Run concert in Philadelphia. And I was like, oh, this is what people were saying when they referred to her as the queen. Like, I think to me, that was like, like, I still get goosebumps when I talk about that concert. And it was my first concert of my life.
Oh, wow.
It was double excitement, double everything, you know?
So are you officially a Beehive?
Yeah, if you want to call that, I'm just be everything.
Be
So,
great, be you.
yeah, I love her. And I also really like Shakira as an artist. And I love her songs. And it's not particularly a woman empowerment song, but I love her. It's Time for Africa, like the World Cup song that she did. I don't know, I don't even know the year, but it's something that really, you know, when I'm down, I just listen to that song and it just like, you know, like ups my energy. So I like female artists. Like I realized that, you know, just by default, I like, or I'm like, I like more female artists than male artists. Does that make sense? Like, I just like, they're more, I think I like female voices better than male voices. I don't know.
There you go. Sydney.
Yeah, okay, this isn't a specific song either, but I was gonna say Billie Eilish. I'm a big fan of hers, and yeah, I feel like that she really has a song that's, you know, for whatever mood it is, like more fun or more like a slower song. So yeah, I would say I'm a big fan of hers, and yeah, I think she's pretty cool because she's just unapologetically herself. So
Well, that's great. You know, strong women taking roles and, you know, making all these empowerment songs. We have a Beehive here, Taylor Swift, and good old Aretha Franklin that we all like. But, you know, is there any other last words that y'all might want to state or have? Final thoughts?
Just before leaving, I like to echo, you know, what we all, I think, throughout our conversation today have been, you know, sort of alluring to, is the fact that I think NGLCC really has that culture of collaboration. You know, we were earlier talking about our roles and responsibilities and what we do, but we're always like helping each other out regardless of what our core role is. You know, so I think that's something I really appreciate, being a part of this collaborative work environment, and, you know, trying to support your team and your team members is such a central, you know, central to whatever we do at NGLCC. And I truly appreciate my colleagues, and you all, thank you so much for this wonderful conversation. And it was just nice to, like, not necessarily talk about work, but just things in general, things that actually mean something, you know, other than work. And thank you for a wonderful talk.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I'll echo that and just say how much I appreciate all of you and the work that you all do, and working with all of you every day is a joy. So this was a wonderful, wonderful conversation, and yeah, you all are fantastic and definite women leaders in our communities. So I appreciate getting to spend this time with all of you.
yeah, you know, this has been great. And echoing what Akriti was saying, you know, being the newest member of the team, I really have felt, you know, everyone extend that helping hand and has been so welcoming. So I've really appreciated being, just that aspect of NGLCC, and yeah, so this has been a great conversation today as well.
Well, great, y'all. This platform has definitely been great and wonderful and awesome panelists. Oh my gosh, I already knew my colleagues were already awesome, but just to know a little bit more about you and the things that you like and the things we have in common, it is just great to know that. And I know that our other colleagues had a great platform as well, and just learning more about each other. And like Akriti said, we all collaborate, but it's just knowing the individual and not just their work. But everybody's work is important. And again, kudos to Lauren and Sabrina for providing this platform, the women of NGLCC, and thank you to our co-founders, Justin Nelson and Chance Mitchell, for allowing this platform to happen. And all that are watching, we hope that you enjoyed it and learning more about the women of NGLCC. And we look forward to talking to you sometime in the near future.